Hey, this is Nick Kennedy, your gray man. And today is the day after Christmas. I hope all you guys had a really good Christmas with the family, and Santa was good to everybody. Here it's pretty nice. I'm in Georgia. Really weird though. I mean, the temperatures really get low, like you know what you'd expect here. Um, the other night, geez, it must have been below freezing here, and my wife, who is currently in Boston, um, and I was talking to her, and I said, what's the temperature there? And she said, oh, it's kind of be like maybe 32, 33. And I said, well, we're actually colder than you in Boston. I said, what's the temperature there going to be tomorrow morning, in the afternoon, whatever? She said, oh, we're looking at probably about 45. I said, yeah, we're going to be like 70. Um, the spread between the night and day, the temperature wise, is really wacky. Anyway, I think I've said that before, but you can, freeze your ass off at night and then switch your ass off during the day here. Anyway, today I decided that I'm going to review a movie, which is probably a little known. It's called The Wailing. It's on Netflix. It was made in 2016. It is Korean. And the reason I'm doing this is because I've been watching some of these movies, recently, especially like the Marvels. And what did I watched uh, both Shazam movies, unfortunately. And I'm actually about a third of the way through Black Adam. And the truth of the matter is, they're not really good movies. And I'll probably do a follow up on a more detailed, granular observation about what I think was, good and or bad about them. But it occurred to me now I'm going to probably age myself because I kind of grew up in the 70s for the most part, and I was used to doing the Saturday morning stuff for any of you guys who are old enough to know what I'm talking about. And there was always a good quality stuff like the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner show that was always pretty good, and a Fat Albert, that was pretty decent. But then there were a cluster of shows that really weren't that good. But I watched them because if I didn't, my father would probably make me go cut the grass. So I would just plant myself in front of the TV and I'd watch them. And I'm talking about shows like Space Academy with Jonathan Harris, who was in Lost in Space, Dr. Smith. He did that. It was pretty bad. I'm talking about Land of the Lost, which probably you guys are more aware of because it was a bad movie with Will Ferrell about, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, probably more. But there was a TV show and it was pretty bad. But when you're 10 years old, it doesn't really matter. Another one, HR Puffin stuff, you know, bad show. Lidsville, same thing. But as a kid, it beats nothing or it beats work. So, we watch them. And I'm finding these movies remind me of that. I mean, they're very lightweight and there's really nothing substantial there. You watch them because it's better than, I don't know, doing the dishes maybe. But I certainly would not want to pay for it. Although I do that so I can do reviews for you guys. But yeah, so what I've been trying to do a little bit is get movies that are number one, free or kind of free. Like if you got Netflix, I think everyone pretty much has Netflix. A lot of people have Prime. A lot of people have Hulu. If I can get some gems out there and throw them out, so you don't have to be running out. Waiting in line to pay $25. I don't even know how much it is, to be honest with you. It's probably not 25. It's probably more like 15, $20, whatever, for a bad movie. You can kind of watch these. The Wailing is very interesting. It is Korean. There are subtitles. Um, it's from a director, and I know I'm going to butcher some of these names if I try, so I'll keep that to a bare minimum. And I apologize there if I get this really wrong. But the director is Ha Hong Jin, I think, who did a very, very good job of the movie. And he did another one I'm going to watch probably later on tonight called The Chaser, which I believe is also on Netflix. But The Wailing is definitely on Netflix. The Chaser, I think The Chaser might be on Oh, on another channel, Roku, I think. Now thinking about it, which I think is a free service. I'll have to check on that, but I'm going to watch that tonight, and maybe I'll let you know about that in the morning. But the Koreans, for those of you who have not spent a lot of time, um, and I think it's not just the Koreans. Actually, I've seen some really good horror movies from Japan. There's one I don't even is it Japanese, or I think it's Japanese, called The Edition, which is also subtitles. That I should do a review on that movie. That was really great. Um, but yeah, no, they're really good. They know their horror, and I think with the American horror, we rely on maybe jump scares a little too much. I think we need men running around with big machetes, cutting people's heads off and body parts off, and they don't really do that. There is some blood, but they actually have mastered the whole thing of suspense. And twists. You know, this one, The Wailing, is full of surprises and twists. And just when you think you got it figured out, it changes on you, which was very interesting, actually. I think a lot of people have gotten the idea that the Koreans make quality shows in last or 2021's The Squid Game that came out. That absolutely mesmerized me, and I think it was like 10 episodes, it might have been 12, and I actually watched them. I think if not in all one day, it was really close. I binge watched those babies, and that was of course great. I know that there's subtitles, and some people don't like them. Personally, I think after 5 minutes, I don't even realize. So to me, it doesn't really matter. I'd rather have a quality movie and read subtitles than have to sit through another of the Marvels, which is really torturous. Um, One thing I do want to notice about the movie before I get into the plot is the subtitles. It does humor. It makes me laugh when they're talking to each other, and somebody talks for like 15 seconds, and the subtitle says yes. I'm like, yes. I think there's something missing in the translation there. He was talking for like he was giving a soliloquy, and I get a one-word answer, yes. But it is not. You do get the gist of the movie. It doesn't really hurt anything. It just had me scratching my head going, yeah, I think I'm missing a word or two there. Anyway, um, so the first thing about this movie is what, what kind of movie is it? I mean, it throws so much out at you, and it kind of changes. I think it starts as kind of like our murder mystery, and then it comes out to be more of a zombie movie, and then it kind of turns into maybe black magic and witchcraft, and then it kind of turns into demonic possession. I mean, it's all over the place, which is not a bad thing. I mean, it does keep you there trying to figure out what's going on. I don't mean to say that in a negative light. I like my movies to make me think. God, that's that's so important nowadays when you're getting force fed things like the Marvels. I shouldn't pick on that movie that much, but it really wasn't very good. Um, Anyway, so that was pretty interesting, first of all. Another thing about the movie that's kind of interesting is that the main characters, especially the main character, is a policeman. There's a lot of it's very police oriented because they're investigating what's going on in this small little village. I guess it's in Korea. I'm not really sure, but the interesting thing is that despite the fact that they're police, they're not particularly smart, and that kind of plays into it in a good way. At least for me, it did, because you're watching capable people in a situation. They won't go into a door they're not supposed to go into, or they're not going to do anything stupid. But when you get somebody who's really not the sharpest knife in the drawer, it actually ends intrigue because they're not particularly bright. But how dumb are they? Are they really going to go into that room with all that wailing and no lights, that kind of thing? And their stupidity actually is very entertaining because you can never count them out of getting a situation where they can be safe or endanger everybody, and more often than not, they'll probably go with the danger, much to their regret. So that was kind of interesting. Uh, The characters, so I mentioned are that we got a police sergeant um, who means well. He cares about his family. He cares about the people, his friends in the village. But a few French fries short of a Happy Meal, as a lot of the policemen are there. And he's the one that is the main character that does the investigation. He discovers things, whether you figure it out before he does or not. He probably should have been a little quicker on the draw on that. But yeah, no, he's I guess he's the hero protagonist. His daughter is a very sweet young girl, and she ends up being the target, shall we say, of the evil that's going on in the village. I'm not going to throw any major spoilers at you. This stuff is pretty much going to be, bird's eye view. Believe me, there's so much to this movie. I'm not throwing anything out there. I'm just giving you some idea about the movie. So the daughter is actually kind of the damsel in distress to an extent. Can he save her? Can he not save her? There's also a mystery man that wanders in, and you don't really get his name. He's generally considered to be a stranger. They call him either the stranger or the Japanese man, which is what he's known in. He's I guess on the outskirts of the village, and he's the one that people notice that since he's moved into the village, things have started to go a little bit sideways. So he's kind of the center of attention to find out what exactly is going on and why are these weird things happening. On top of that, there's also a young, mysterious woman, probably about 30 years old, obviously Korean, and she's always hiding. She comes. People can't always find her. You find her when she decides you can find her, and she comes in with bits of information, to fill in, what might be helpful for the village to dispel all this, whatever it is, bad luck, witchcraft, demonic possession, whatever's there. She's there trying to help things along. And there's a few other elements to that as well. There's a shaman that they bring in, and he's the only one that seems to understand what's going on around there. And he knows the rituals that you need to perform, and he knows all about the black magic and what the villagers need to do and pay. He doesn't do it for free, so that he can save everybody. And apparently that's pretty much all I'm going to get into, because the rest of the movie is trying to go through who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, who's the bad guy that's really the good guy that everyone thinks is bad, and vice versa. And the movie does keep you guessing all the way through. And it comes down to the fact that this police sergeant, who again is not the brightest bulb, he has to make some key decisions, and the wrong decision could eliminate his family, the village. There are very high stakes here, and it's resting at the feet of somebody who's probably not the best person to kind of figure things out. And it really does a number on you in the respect that you are guessing. As a matter of fact, when the movie was over, I think I was pretty sure I figured it out. But it's one of those things, like I'm sure you guys have done this before too. You're like, let me just verify to make sure that everyone else, thinks the same thing. And I went, yeah, I was right. I was right. Apparently there were some scenes cut out that really would have eliminated any doubt, which ended up on the director's floor, which, editor's floor, director's floor, whichever, which is not rare. I don't think it's really needed, actually. It just was verification that I know what happened now. But the movie is really good. For those of you who have Netflix, it's right there. 2016, subtitles. If you can get by with that, I really would think it's worth your while. It's a lot better than the garbage they're putting out nowadays. like I said, I do see some movies that I want to give reviews on to compare to things. So I will pay the money and I'll go. More often than not, I'm kind of sitting there counting my teeth. But this movie, and others, which I'll bring to your attention, I think are worth your while. And what I'm probably going to do in the next week or so is I'm going to put together a list of movies that I know are free and are good quality that you may not have heard of before. Because there's a lot of movies out there. You don't need to go out and stand in line and pay $20 for a ticket to see a bad movie. When there's plenty of free channels, if you don't mind an ad now and then, geez, it's a bargain. So I'll put together kind of a list. I used to work in a movie theater, so I saw a lot of movies come and go that no one really appreciated or recognized, that are now they're just giving it away on like Freevee or Pluto or all the other ones that they have, Tubi, I guess. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for your attention. I hope I was able to give you some value to your next movie watching. And this is the Gray Man, Nick Kennedy, saying, I hope it was good for you too. Bye bye now.